Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, and franchises and trilogies with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right, and to avoid any lazy negativity, we're making this a drinking game. Any negative criticism about a film is absolutely allowed, but you will be called out for it, and you will have to take a drink, both me and you at home, every time.
So if you hear this noise, it means we're all drinking. So pour yourself a glass, join us, and give it up for some films we love and the films that might need some love this week. We'll find out.
What are we doing?
There's a
We
few.
have 30 films to talk
There's
about.
a few that may need some love tonight. God damn it.
That's right, everybody. We are picking up, this is the 7th week of our Corona Franchise Face-Off, which, for those of you new to the pod, jumping in this week, thank you so much. So good to have you.
Welcome.
We decided that in the age of the coronavirus, which, by the way, I am drinking Corona Light currently.
You're that guy.
That's right. Respect.
Buzz him.
So, in honor... Damn it! Wait, I'm trying to give everybody the scoop. Okay, when the coronavirus came around, we decided that we, along with other people, might be interested in binging franchises or trilogies with the extra time and the freer nights they have alone in their apartment, contemplating their sins. So we have been talking about our 16 favorite trilogies or franchises. We seeded them 1 through 16, and we put a bracket together. Right now, we are in our 7th week. The winner of this week will advance to the quarterfinals, where they will see the likes of either The Lord of the Rings, The Godfather, Star Wars, Star Trek, Toy Story, somehow also John Wick, and Harry Potter.
That's a throwback.
That is correct.
Thanks for the throwback.
Yes, but today we have a whole bunch of films because we are going to step up with our 7 seed, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that is specifically the Avengers series, which means any films that the Avengers are in, not the X-Men. Any film that any Avenger is in, that's our
X-Men
7th
aren't
seed.
even in the cinematic universe yet.
Not Blade? Not Blade?
Yeah.
Come on, what about
Not
Blade?
yet.
Wait, come
He's
on.
announced his film hasn't been
They're
made.
going up. Hey, they're going up against our 10 seed, the Terminator series. We'll find out what went wrong after John gives some shout-outs.
Okay, we're going to... I tried it. I tried it right off the bat.
Really?
Our
That's so
first
funny. I can't believe you didn't
sponsor.
practice.
Yeah, I'm going to drink for my shitty Arnold. I'm coming
I can't
back
believe you
with it,
didn't
though.
try
It's
that
gonna-
out before
What's
just to
wrong
run
with your
it.
eyes? What's wrong with your eyes? Okay, our first sponsor. This is our beer sponsor. We miss him. His name is Carlos Barroso. Give him a follow on Instagram at C Barroso Bar 2019. That's CBARROZOBAR 2019. And as always, the music you hear on these episodes is provided by the artist Dasein. You can find them at SoundCloud. SoundCloud.com/ we were determining that last week / Dasein.
Yeah, I think it's just a regular slash.
Artist, sure. So that's SoundCloud.com / Dasein, DASEIN - artist. All right, let's get into our shitty Arnold impressions. I'm pretty excited about this.
No,
But
Arnold comes up later.
First up, we're going to be doing the Marvel movies. That's 22 movies. And just in case you're wondering, we do have lives. We did not watch all 22 movies this week, but we have all seen them at least once or twice or 3 times. Dave, how many times have you seen these?
Oh, it gets less as it goes on, but like some of the earlier ones I've seen, it would be at least 20, 25
Very strange
times.
answer. Okay.
No, I'm talking about as we get further down, like as you start to get into some of the sequels, you start to watch some of them a little less.
Yeah, or maybe Captain Marvel. Yeah, so... Oh!
This happened over the course of 12 years, 2008 to 2019. They made 22 films, plus all the other Marvel Disney stuff that was going on in the world. How did they do it? Obviously, some were better than others.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. Dave, how do you want to start? Why don't we do this a little bit in sequence, right? So Iron Man started this.
And it
2008.
also, like, they changed it right from the go, really, as well, because the original scripted version of Iron Man, he wasn't meant to end the film with "I am Iron Man." They actually went and asked and had to sit down with Marvel management and say, "Can we do this?" And they were like, "Yeah, go for it." And it changed everything from that point on, because
Wow.
the entire universe was kind of tipped on its head. And I love when they do that.
Should we talk right now about how great Robert Downey Jr.'s agent was? Should we get that off the bat? The guy, look at the foresight. So now you know to do this, just might as well throw that clause in there. Robert Downey Jr.'s agent said any movie that Iron Man in, he gets a percentage of the gross. And apparently it was a pretty high percentage, because after that first Avengers movie came out, when everybody was like, yeah, we made $2 to $4 million and Robert Downey Jr. got 50, he got as much as everybody else combined. Like, kudos, CAA, like, good job, bros. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, buzz everybody else's agent.
Yeah, buzz everybody else's agent.
Everybody's agent drink.
Everybody's agent.
I think they renegotiated it down eventually.
Probably after Iron Man 2.
So Dave. Yeah, but Iron Man 3 was cool, but it was after the Avengers, so it doesn't matter. Anyway,
yeah,
Iron Man 3 was cool. There were some good villains in there.
It got some love on Twitter recently, actually. A lot of people were going back for a rewatch.
For sure.
And that's one of the things with these movies. Like, the rewatchability is through the roof.
Oh, it's through the roof, dude. I mean, it's also Iron Man 3 might be my favorite trailer. I know that has a very specific positive, but all of these had some very similar trailers, and they all had the similar teasers, towards the end of the movies. Yeah. I remember seeing that trailer for Iron Man 3. I thought it was haunting. The image of him dragging his suit through the snow.
Right.
Remember that? Anyway, why is the Marvel Universe so special?
Be Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Because I knew nothing about Guardians, and they came in with that trailer with the music, and I was sold for it. Was Hooked on a Feeling? Was that what it was like? And I was just sold from the get-go, and I couldn't wait to see this thing. And I went and saw it, and I was right. It was amazing.
So I do kind of want to ask.
I was confused because
Good. Yeah, no, you go.
I was going to say, I was confused by it because the opening of it was that, like, post-apocalyptic. So I thought it was going to be, because I think that was around the same year as Interstellar, which had, like, a similar look. And I was like, wait, I don't know why. There was a weird crossover for me when I saw that trailer. And then with the 80s throwback tune kicked in there with, like, an old headset, but flying through space.
What if Chris Pratt and Matthew McConaughey switched? Would you still like it?
Interesting.
Would you still watch
Interstellar? Interstellar would be hilarious. Okay, wait. So the Hulk comes out the same year as Iron Man 2008. They sort of kind of pretended like it didn't happen because Edward Norton wasn't going to be in anymore. But then you get Captain America and Thor. Dave, you read the comics ahead of time, or at least most of them.
I haven't read many of the Marvel
these the people
comics.
To introduce?
But I tell you, the one thing I was very curious about was like how they were going to do Thor. Because I was like, they've set up this really... Like, it was a grittier Iron Man intro, and it was a perfect intro for Iron Man, the character of Iron Man, in my opinion. And then they did Captain America, which was exactly what you would expect. And then it's like, okay, we're going Thor, and I'm like, wow, they're doing Thor straight into the mystical. And I'm pleased to say it was a tiny little self-contained introduction story to Thor. Now, was it the best Thor movie? No, Ragnarok is. All right, I said something bad about the original Thor, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
I like Kenneth Branagh's first Thor a lot, though. I really like that.
I loved it.
Movie.
I thought it was great.
I was shocked because I'm totally one of those people who had no idea about any of these characters. I remember seeing Thor like on some lunch boxes growing up and stuff, but I did not check in or tune in to any of the Marvel universe outside of, well, nobody. Spider-Man, I was kind of in. He had a good cartoon when we were kids. It came on after the Batman.
The animated stuff.
Yeah,
that was about it. I didn't watch any of the animated cartoons other than that. I watched Batman and Spider-Man, I guess. So Thor was like a big stretch for me. I was like, all right, let's go watch this movie about this demigod who lives on a planet in the solar system. And I was really, I don't know, it got me. I was very, very impressed. The sincerity they had. Thor especially has so much good comedy, and they eventually take it, all the way to Ragnarok, which is hilarious. And he probably has the funniest movies. But that first one, I don't know, I was touched by the sincerity.
I think that's the only way they could have done it. It was like, this is his character, and this is what he's going through. And it's a great little origin story. And I'm so happy when they get around to Love and Thunder, which is the next Thor, that they're getting Natalie Portman back, because I feel like those two really, really work together. I feel like people are going to scream like children when she picks that hammer up for the first time.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. And we can't talk about any successful franchise, as we keep noting throughout the weeks, without talking about just the casting and the acting. It's just so essential if you're going to try to get people to watch 40 plus
Mm.
hours of movies. How good is Chris Hemsworth
Yeah.
as Thor, man? He just came out of fucking nowhere. He was doing like soaps,
Yeah.
right, in Australia, and then he
Yeah,
came over.
he was just that older brother, you know.
Yeah,
like,
it was I'm pretty sure two of them turned up to the audition. And yeah.
yeah,
Oh wow, really?
Who said that? Loki said that. Shit, what's his name? Loki said he auditioned
Tom
for Thor
Hiddleston.
too. Tom Hiddleston, and when he showed up to audition for Thor, he saw that Liam Hemsworth was auditioning for Thor, and he was like, "What are they going for? Because we are nothing alike. This little like 18-year-old and me." And then they ended up casting his brother, and he was like, "That makes more sense. Yep, for sure."
Wow, he's so good as Loki. I'm so glad they cast him as Loki.
You know what? I'm tired of loving on these fucking movies. Okay, here's the question that I want to know. So obviously these movies are great, and we love them. Why are they so good that the little holes that they put that are in the movie, like for instance, Loki was definitely supposed to die at the end of the first one, and then he somehow made it into 4 more movies. So why is it that, how does this franchise get away with stuff like that? Is it just the charisma of the stars? Because some of those stories are hacked away. I'm going to remind everybody that in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which people pretend to like, Kurt Russell's...
I've been waiting for it. My finger was on the trigger.
Kurt Russell, guys, Kurt Russell is God. What balls are on these people that they sat there and they said, I got an idea. What if Star-Lord's dad is Kurt Russell, who's his dad, who created Earth in the exact same mythology as every religion? He literally creates Earth. He is God.
Snake Plissken escaped New York and then escaped planet Earth. He became a god of that planet.
When he gives that speech, he is saying, "I'm your god," to the people of Earth. I am God.
Well,
So anyway,
I mean, he's not called Ego for nothing.
Exactly. Okay. Moral of the story is: how did they get away with this? Why are these things so good? Why are they so much better than DC? Like, I don't even know where you want to go from here.
I can't even I don't even get me started on the Marvel DC thing. It's only recently started to set their ship right. I'm not sure what that animosity was towards the DC stuff. But it was unwarranted. I own all those films as well. I love them. They're great. But I think the fact that, and I'll cite the clips that have been released recently on Twitter because it was recently the 1 year anniversary of Endgame in cinemas.
Oh, wow.
And they posted a heap of clips, and it was people in a packed theater. And it was packed. It was opening night, and they've got it was one of the directors actually had his phone out recording it, and they recorded the moment near the end where Captain America picks up Thor's hammer. And the audience fucking lost it.
Yeah,
and
dude.
It's like if something generates that much of a positive response with you, you're going to let a few things slide.
Yeah, for sure. Like that whole
Is
battle
that the
sequence.
Image?
That whole battle sequence.
Is that the image when he's? Is that the image when he is standing alone holding the hammer, and it's Captain versus the entire fucking army before they all fly out and join him? Or is it when he first picks it up and they start fighting him together?
On the ground, you just see this hand reach down and pick it up, and then he cops.
As awesome as that was, you could buzz me on this. That sequence frustrated me because wasn't it Captain America with Thor's hammer, Thor with his new axe, and Iron Man versus Thanos without the ring, without the stones, and he handled all of them?
I think he had 4 stones at that point, didn't he?
I don't care. He didn't have all the stones.
That's still pretty damn powerful.
All 3 of them? All 3 of them, though? Captain with the hammer?
After my biggest gripe was after all the build-up of Captain Marvel, he kicked her ass in 20 seconds.
They didn't know. They say, I feel so bad. No, you're totally right, dude. I feel bad for anyone who I don't know who is to blame for why that movie and that character isn't working within
Captain
this universe
Marvel?
where everything else plays so well. Yeah, it just didn't.
She learned how to fly real quick.
Captain Marvel worked for me. I dug it.
Are you talking about the character or the
both.
film?
The character worked, and the film as an origin story worked for me. But I can't wait to see the galactic adventures, like the Earth-based stuff. I don't know. I can't wait until we see where she was in between.
I mean, it's kind of the Superman problem, though, isn't it? Like when she comes back, you're like, all right, the movie's over, and then he fights her, and I was like, what? She just flew through his ship. Hold on a second.
Just flew right through his ship.
She entered through his army and destroyed everybody on her landing, and she got her ass kicked by him. I don't know.
But again, that's what I'm saying. With those moments, the other moments around it are such a pump up that you let it slide.
And not to mention that this has been building to this final movie. There's 21 movies in front of it. So you have to get back to what you're asking. I think that like we now live in the age of series television now, and
Television's not quite television
I think
either.
Kevin
It's
Feige,
almost movies. Yeah.
and it's not quite. They're like movies, right? So and Kevin Feige, how do you say his
Feige.
name? That motherfucker said, "Watch this." He created the biggest cinematic series in history. This has never happened before. We've never had this much that is that connected by a single production company with a few producers, sometimes him directly, who are at the helm the entire time. They have a team of directors they all really like working with who tend to work on multiple movies. So they feel like they're coming from the same house. And they had a long term vision of completing this many movies. That has never been done before. So I think that's why they get away with the holes.
Yeah.
Because we have come so far with all these characters. We have been so emotionally invested. I mean, let's be real. Comic book movies ask a lot of their audience. Like, you're going to have to get on board with us having superpowers and having ridiculous scenarios where we might be going in and out of time loops where people are going to die and come back from the dead, or they're going to be seemingly killed off and then just reappear. If you don't care about those characters, you're not going to give a shit when all that stuff comes to fruition. And clearly it worked, or else you would not see a clip like that that's like some Star Wars shit.
It is. I mean, they really,
like, seeing an audience
they
freak
really
out
did
like that.
the great thing of making you feel for these characters. Like even case in point, Doctor Strange starts off the movie as a complete asshole, and you follow his journey where he turns around to become the source of almost.
Also, that journey was fast. He was in Asia in like 14 minutes.
Well, that was back when
literally. He was like, "I'm awesome. I'm a great doctor. Fucked up the surgery. Crashed the car. I'm in Asia." Like it happened so fast.
That was back when we had airplanes.
Yeah. Oh, right. What's flying? You say flying?
I mean, beautiful to watch. I can't wait to see the next one. That like it's going to be like a horror movie version of Doctor Strange.
But I think
anyways,
like the fact that they leave you hanging at the end as well. Like the taglines became a thing. The Stan Lee cameos became a thing. Gonna miss that. But like the after credit scenes became a thing, so much to the point where they really started having fun with it, and then they managed to convince Sony to bring Spider-Man back into the mix, and of course the world lost their mind over that.
I think Sony actually convinced themselves after Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2. They were like, okay, it's yours, right. Guys, it's yours. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Tom's great. Tom Holland's great.
Tom Holland's so good. He's so charming. I can't believe he got that like that. Like, I wonder if they knew in that first scene with Tony Stark.
I can't stop thinking about him and RDJ and the Back to the Future reboot. After you mentioned that the other week, that is so funny.
If you can find that clip, find it and watch it. It's bizarre.
So but
awesomely bizarre.
To kind of take it to another slightly different direction, but also kind of staying with this, why do we care so much? Is it these characters? Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be the characters. We just want to spend time with Tony Stark.
The action's great.
We never get mad at him for fucking his suit up. His suit, he's like, I upgraded the suit. Immediately, suit stopped working. Hey, I upgraded the suit. What's happening? I don't know. The suit's malfunctioning. How many upgrades? It doesn't matter. We just want to spend more time with him. He can keep fucking that suit up. Go get him, Tony!
He's so good. So I have a friend who I'm staying with right now, and they don't know any of these movies. I think they saw one random one. So I was trying to think of like, what's an emotional, like what's a good character introduction? So I went with the first Captain America. And Captain America is also my favorite character arc throughout the entire series. I was, again, not that I had any context from the comic books, but I was anticipating him being a much more traditional, predictable character. And I love where they ended up taking him, especially the brothers who did Winter Soldier and Endgame and
Russos,
the Russos. I thought it was really cool how they ended up subverting that, making him have more conflict with their expectations as the Avengers, and if they were supposed to have any accountability to the government, or if they were supposed to be gunslingers. And of course, it worked, man. By the end of that first movie, we only watched that one, but this friend was like, you know what? I didn't mind that. I kind of cared about what was happening to them. Does he get to see the girl again? I was like, you got to watch 21 more movies.
That's 20 more movies away. Sorry about that. Yeah, when my family came over last year for the wedding, they flew over to the US, and my dad and my aunt came and stayed with us for almost a month leading up to the wedding. So
it's totally normal for weddings. Your in-laws come for.
And I I happened to find out that they hadn't seen half these movies, so our nightly thing was to sit down and do these movies all in order.
Mhm.
So we watched the entire thing from top to tail.
Oh yeah.
And
Did you go
I
in
think
a
my auntie
release
still
date?
hasn't. She, yeah, basically,
Nice.
yeah, with release date. But I think my auntie still hasn't figured out what's going on. But she loved them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're still fun. I mean, the tone. All right, I do kind of want to get into it with a little bit. I don't want it to turn into us fighting why DC or Marvel, but
Also,
I think
she's
it's
going to
inarguable
freak
that
out too because she's one of our 2 Australian listeners.
Yeah.
Yay!
What's her name?
Auntie Deb.
Honey Deb.
Hey! All right. So
She'll appreciate that. Thanks.
I think there you go. I think the tone of the Marvel movies, and it's probably again because it comes from one production house, and they just really have everything streamlined and uniform. They all feel like the same movie with slightly different points of view. So the tone shifts a little bit depending on if you go into individual character movies. It might be a little darker, a little funnier, a little zanier, but it all feels like you're in that Marvel universe. It always feels like that. Do you guys? How many movies do you feel like you needed to see when this was all coming out in real time before you realized, wow, every single movie is going to feel like this? And one, did you mind that? Or two, was that one reason why you loved it so much? Because you knew what you were going to get.
I'm a weird case because I had different reactions to some of these films. Like I really didn't enjoy Thor: Dark World.
Yep. Yeah. I feel you.
Or I am
Not a great
into,
one.
and controversially, when I went and saw Winter Soldier, I did not enjoy it at all.
What?
Hey,
Are you serious?
Interesting.
Dude, that's one of the better
It is
movies.
it's a fantastic movie, and rewatching it was great. I was in the wrong frame of mind when I went into the theater, and
Okay.
I saw it
Yeah,
by
that's
myself,
on you, Dave.
and the theater was half empty. And again,
Yeah.
these are movies that you love to watch as a crowd. These are movies you can watch as a group. And the bigger the group, the better, in my opinion.
Right. Did you go in like a small? Were you in like a small
Yeah,
audience or
it
something?
was.
Was your audience
It
not
was
reacting?
it was later. It was
Okay,
later in the
okay.
season. Sometimes, like work and stuff, I don't get the chance to get out when they first come out, and I'm gonna make
Yeah.
a habit of stopping that because I feel like these movies, especially in the case of Marvel movies, the more pumped your crowd is, the more fun you're gonna have.
Yeah, there is a group mind that they
Hmm.
have conjured with this universe, and because it's no longer comic books. Obviously, we're talking about movies. They pulled in a much wider net, and it feels like the Star Wars ones. Although, to credit the Marvel movies, like these did not get worse as they went on. Like, honestly, I'll be
What?
buzzed for the rest of my life for those fucking late Star Wars movies. I don't give a shit. These movies did not.
These did not get
They
worse.
did not get worse. I don't think so. I feel like they got more and more interesting because they had a big dilemma on their hands of how the fuck do we keep people invested in this for these many years ahead, these many movies, if we know we're going to be greenlighting at least a sequel per, if not 3 per character. And I think they realized that if they are going to be character driven, which ultimately I would say they are, there's still obviously there's amazing action in all these movies.
Yeah.
The action, the special
And
effects is
it
fucking
just
incredible.
gets better.
It just gets better and better and better. But I feel like they knew in their writers' rooms, whoever the fuck was involved with story, we cannot do what they think they're going to see based on the comic books. We can't just give them what they're already going to be talking about. We have to figure out ways to change shit up. And again, I really don't have any context, but
Yeah.
I
And that has
was pleasantly
infuriated some
surprised.
people.
Was it infuriating? Because like I was always happy when
No,
it wasn't.
no, it
Whenever you
infuriated
guys were
some-
upset, I was happy. I was like, if the comic book fans were upset.
There's diehard comic book fans that don't want anything changed. They just want to see what they read put on screen. Yeah, it infuriated those guys, but I love it. Like you don't want to go and see an exact replica of some panels that you just read. Sure, at the occasion, I love they're doing with graphic novel stuff now is every now and then you'll get a scene that is a frame reference for the novel, like the graphic novel. So they'll replicate a scene on film, but they're not afraid to go away from the narrative and change up the characters a little bit and like mess with the situation and turn the whole world on its head, like in the case of Iron Man.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, is that like totally different than it is in the comic books? Is that what you're saying? Or just
I'm pretty sure he doesn't reveal his identity straight up.
wow. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jeff, who's your favorite character? Is it RDJ? Is it Iron Man?
Me? Maybe. I mean,
22-minute through line.
I would say him. I do like Star-Lord in the first Guardians movie, but honestly, maybe the dad god stuff just didn't work out for me for like the whole trajectory from beginning to end. So I'd probably go Iron Man 1, maybe Loki 2, and then
Nice, dude.
maybe I like Thor. Like, if you trace Thor from his origin story to Ragnarok, like, how fucking funny is that? The fact that he says, "That's my friend from work," like, when Hulk comes out, is just so fucking funny. Oh my god.
Taika Waititi is the rock monster. Cool.
Did Fat Thor work for you?
Yeah,
No.
why not? Oh. I mean, they never do great when they're blatantly trying to do something "quote unquote" funny.
Talk about that. Yeah. Hit me with that. I was curious if you felt like all the comedic stuff landed, because sometimes I do feel like it's like one of the only negative things I would say is that sometimes they're contrived with a little bit of their forced comedy. Like the actors, the charm is where I laugh the most, not when they have written a comedic moment.
I think Downey Jr. is an exception because he's the kind of guy that everything moves so fast that it's just funny, even though you're not laughing hysterically. Do you know what I mean? Like, every time you say anything,
yeah, he's just funny.
He'll be like, "Yeah, that's charming. That's great. I'm gonna go. Bye." And it's just like funny the way he moves. But like some of the Thor and Captain America stuff, especially in the Avengers, like the actual Avenger movies, I actually don't mind the one-liners. It's when they do big comedic ideas, with the exception of full films like Ragnarok. But like whenever there are scenes, like I think Fat Thor is probably the best example, or even in the Avengers when Thor is watching himself from the past and he's trying to make it funny. There's just a couple times that I don't think it works full-fledged.
I mean, I get what they did there, and rewatching, I really appreciate it because they explored the notion of a superhero with PTSD.
Yeah, but they made it a caricature and funny. I mean, that wasn't.
They sort of did.
People with PTSD probably wouldn't be thrilled about that. They'd be like, "Oh."
Well, I think that's why it rubbed me the wrong way. They kind of took the edge off it
and,
a little bit.
And I would add to that. I don't think it's a disagreement that my favorite PTSD is Iron Man's PTSD. He's so fucked up after the first Avengers that he's definitely the most interesting to me in his conflict, his eternal conflict.
He's so fucked up of the first Avengers, he causes the second Avengers.
Right.
I mean, he's so messed up. And Civil War.
Goody's fucked up for the first Avengers. 1 billion people died in that first fucking movie. All these aliens. This is all right.
You guys.
They never talk about the world outside of Marvel, with the exception of like the military-industrial complex. Let's just be real here. The Avengers came pretty early. So for me, when did I realize this was it? It's like everything was leading to the Avengers, and when the Avengers did live up to expectations and pave the way for the future, I was like, honestly, they can make 50 of these if they really wanted to. But the world doesn't make sense at all if you actually think about. They do kind of want to be serious because they want the characters to have consequence. But that first Avengers movie, they destroy half of New York. Buildings are blown. I mean, honestly, at least 1 million people are dead. And the characters have PTSD. They eat falafel. And then they move on with their life, and the world kind of goes, "Should we trust the Iron?" I feel like they're not really giving themselves credit. They're not really facing the consequence. And I do think you're right in that Downey Jr. does pull that off the best. And even though in Civil War, it's the one boy that the mom shows the picture of, when it was like, "My boy was helping the poor, and you killed him during one of your Avengers stints where you needed to go be a hero."
Ultron? What's the end of Ultron where they drop the?
When there's a city in the sky and the entire...
That's where the kid was. He was studying abroad there. But I'm glad you brought that up, dude. That's I did want to bring that up. Like, the only thing that I struggle with when I'm watching these movies is the inconsequential violence. And I know that sounds maybe like an old man of me, but it is sometimes when I'm in the midst of having as much fun as I'm having watching these, it'll kind of hit me that they just knocked the whole building down and we'll never learn anything. And even while I'm watching them, it doesn't really bother me too much. Somebody will bring it up every now and then and I'll be like, yeah, you're right. But then when a movie like Joker comes out and people are raving with madness over how violent that is, that bothers me, that we can all go have fun watching Iron Man knock a building over, but not watch Joker intimately kill a few people. So I do think it's introducing something to the culture that I'm not sure they're handling as well as they could, towards the latter movies, I do want to credit them. Like they deal with it.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. tries to deal with it, but I'm still not 100% that they embrace as a production team the way that they literally design the way they've had their massive battles at the end of these movies. It does still feel like they are very much leaning into inconsequential violence with the special effects. Big giant buildings are getting fucking tumbled down everywhere. I don't know. Do you guys feel that way at all? Does it bother you at all, or am I alone?
I don't know if it bothers me, but of course, for sure. And back to Civil War, they tried to get Scarlet. They try to get Elizabeth Olsen's character to like, there's like a little fire in the building, and she's like, oh my god, people died and it's my fault. And I was like, were you paying attention in the 20-minute sequence where like cars were flipping over and there were definitely dead people and there's 150 people in the hospital? So it does seem like they're making it convenient for them when they need to face consequences or not. And also, these are 22 movies in which the answer is violence every single time, and they even try to pretend sometimes that there's a diplomatic solution, but they never actually believe it. You never actually get they're sitting there and it's like, what's our next fight? It really does feel like that a little bit.
I totally agree.
Okay, sorry.
I let that go way longer than it should have. No one's ever going to watch these movies again, ever.
What do you think, dude?
I mean, I think...
No, we praised them at the beginning of this.
I mean, the thing is, they're in a battle zone. The aliens are causing the damage.
Yeah,
they're
the whole
trying
planet.
To stop
Everybody
it.
get off Earth.
The
whole planet's a battle zone. People died in the middle of Africa. Come on.
But it's a case of they didn't pick the fight. They didn't pick the location for the fight. And in my opinion, they did the best they can. Sure, a lot of people got killed.
That's what Marvel's depending on us.
Is that a quote?
That is literally Marvel's lawyers submit that.
We didn't pick the fight. So
they said we don't want any lawsuits from you kids. All right,
that's really good. Keep going.
Put an assault weapon ban, and it's not our fault.
So I mean, I was happy to go with them because it's a case of this thing open above New York. Sure, there's going to be some destruction. Yeah, there's probably some death. They do a good job of distracting away from the fact that, and it comes back to these characters trying to defeat that, and they do it really well.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job of.
I actually never thought about that till you brought it up just now. Now I'm bummed.
That's cool. Man. Well, I do think they live on the idea that everybody in the movies kind of thinks like, if I had superpower abilities, could that be me? And I don't know if they really presents the full-fledged, like, you might actually end up like Joker. I think they're more so are like, these are options of things you could do. If you were Iron Man, this is what you could be. If you were a god like Thor, this maybe is how you do it.
There's one scene as well in Avengers where Cap lands on the bridge and he starts giving the cops orders, and they're like, well, why should we listen to you? And then in the end, he kills some aliens, and then the cops are like, okay, we're going to do this and this and this. We're going to clear a block radius.
These are alien movies, by the way.
And so basically they do outline the fact that the superheroes aren't the only ones battling in this city. Like, you've got all the first responders on the ground getting people the hell out of there because they don't know what's going on. They know there's some people trying to stop it, but they're taking care of the people.
No, you're totally right. And
that's what I'm saying. After Avengers, the fire people and the first responders should have said, why are you even still here?
Yeah. So, I don't want to.
The sky opened up, an alien army came through the sky. Why are you still in New York City? Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah, why is red still so high?
I don't want this to sound like an ultimate criticism, because I do often argue for these movies that they do acknowledge it. I mean, the latter half of these 22, the latter 11, basically post Avengers 1, they do have a lot of dialogue revolving around this conflict. When Iron Man gets upset, that's basically, what is that, number 2 or Civil War, when it's like, oh yeah, we dropped a building on him when we were kicking ass. Yeah. Like he literally says it. Like he is feeling with it.
Civil War is like
he's
an
dealing with it,
of this
and it's
series.
smart. It's smart that they give it to Iron Man because he is our surrogate. He was our first. He's the point of view that we tend to have when we are with the Avengers. I guess I just wanted them to. I'm hearing myself say this, and I know in Endgame they don't have a final battle in a city. It is in the middle of it's off on the compound. So like I appreciate that. I'm not even sure what I wanted it. I think I wanted it to help them disintegrate even more, to really put them in a place where they were going to go even further than the Civil War took them, where they were going to be fighting, where it was going to ultimately be the thing that would destroy them. That unless there was something to avenge, like Endgame, unless there was something specific that completely dictated all the fight, that they had no control over it. Unless it was that, I wanted them to realize that there is no reason we should exist. That we shouldn't be taking it upon ourselves to go kick ass on Earth. It's only when something comes out of the sky and we have to fight on their under their rules.
I feel like,
and I don't know if it went that far. It almost went that far.
I feel like
so I credit them, and
the first, like, you got Iron Man, and we've introduced Iron Man. Great. Now we introduced Captain America. We're heading for Avengers. We've got Thor. Like, we've introduced all these characters. We're building it up. We're heading for Avengers. We go to Avengers, and it's like, we've got to be bigger than all these movies. So we're going to do this massive attack, and it's going to be great. And then I think after that, someone sat down and went, we kind of need to deal with the repercussions of all that. And I think that's where the humanity story starts from that point on. I think that's when they first came up with the idea of going, okay, these guys need to deal with what they've just been through and what they're doing to the world and the effect the world's having on them, etc.
And they linked that very well together among all of the movies moving forward. Whether the plot succeeded or not, you could tell, like, you got a feeling in the trajectory of the series that they were headed that way. And I think that it pulled off. It's so that when they got to actually facing Thanos, it really actually did feel like they didn't want to face Thanos, as opposed to like, yeah, we're ready.
Yeah.
Like, you do feel that, and so that's a compliment to them for sure.
Yeah, and it was a case of they did pick the location for the battle.
True.
Yes.
Can I shit on Endgame or yet, or are you guys gonna keep going?
Fucking shit on it, dude. No, thank you. Let's talk about that really fast.
We
talked more than we had ever talked before.
When they admitted time travel, they're like, guys, I have the answer. We're just gonna time travel. Like, you could tell that they were sitting there going, this is such horseshit. The end of the Avengers, like, no, everybody disappeared, and they're like, people are gonna be asking, what are we gonna do about everybody disappearing? And I wonder if they're gonna guess that what we're gonna do is go back before they disappear. I wonder if they're going to do that. Also, it's 3 hours of that. They have to explain the science 4, 5, 6 times. Every time they meet somebody, they meet Ant-Man in like a cafe, and they're like, here we go. We're going to explain everything that everybody in the audience already knows. And then we're 2 hours into the movie, and we haven't had a battle yet.
Take a third one.
And then, by the way, all of these supporting characters, everybody from Wakanda, the Guardians crew, every other supporting character, they all come back with their armies at the end. Did we see them train? No. Did we see them prepared? No. Did we even see a conversation from these people going, Tony Stark's coming back, we got to get ready? No. They just fucking appeared on a battlefield, had a battle that seemed completely redundant because all we were doing was following the stone around for a couple minutes. Everybody got exactly one punch. And then Thanos died, even though it's possible that the Panther's suit could have absorbed the blow, so it should have been him. But Tony just really seemed like he wanted to die. And also, again, Captain Marvel, we needed somebody for Thanos to beat up. You're new. Bye. Hope everybody got paid. And for me, the best part about the movie was afterwards, I was like, okay, that's fucking it, right? Like, there's nothing else. And if they try to revive any of this bullshit, there's no way it's going to work.
Okay, that's 5 drinks,
Jeff. You're totally right, dude. Hold on a second. Wait, no, this matters. Let's talk about. I know we're talking so long about these
22
movies, but they
movies,
deserve
so
it. There's so many movies. We can talk longer about these movies. I'm so glad you brought that up because it's not just in general. Like, Endgame is probably my least favorite Marvel movie. I do think that it felt like fan service, and I never felt, as a person who's not a pre-existing fan, I never felt like I was being pimped into loving these people. The story and the action held me for 21 movies, and especially Infinity War. When Infinity War ended, I was like, do I agree with Thanos? I was like, hold on a second. Like, this is the most interesting villain they have brought up
now
yet.
I'm like, do I buzz him for agreeing with Thanos?
He gets everything he wanted. I mean, do I buzz myself? I don't even know. I felt that conflict. I felt everything they wanted me to feel.
That was a really good scene when they see Thanos at the end, and he's just like owning the farm. God. That was a really good scene.
Yeah, really touching, really effective, philosophical, brutal. There were so many elements to it that I know they were working so hard to get to, and they finally got there with the 20-verse film. And then Endgame, they just backpedaled on everything.
It was a victory lap. They went to everybody's origin story. It was a cheap victory lap. Every single person's origin story. I agree,
dude. Yeah, no, I will drink this entire beer because I wasn't angry. I've watched that twice.
They said, guys, it's over. Like, here's everybody. Somehow we schedule. Honestly, I feel like they were saying, oh my God, guys, we figured out everybody's schedule. Like, I feel like they did. They're like, we got all these people. We got them all in the same room on the same day.
I hate buzzing for things that I agree with.
I know,
true.
Dude. We're
everybody
right,
got like one punch.
Right? Marvel Universe, get at me. reply to us right now on the internet. Don't you agree that you
Yeah.
want a better end game?
Even
Come on, I
Josh
wanted a better
Brolin's
one.
brilliant. Look at Josh Brolin's eyes in that scene. He's literally sitting there going, "Are you done with your victory lap? You guys think you're so cool because you went back through time and you saw yourselves and you guys like pat yourself on the back, motherfuckers. But you're terrorists pretending to be good guys. Like, come on."
Yeah. I mean, maybe they did too good
Anyway,
of a job.
I really
with
did like
Infinity
the series, but I'm so happy that should be it. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure
there
more
is
are
definitely
coming,
more
but that
coming,
was
but
a good
it's
bookend.
not the Avengers. We're going to start getting second tier Avengers and things like that.
Go
so-
John Wan. Just go like horror film. Just do some fucking weird shit. Go Wolverine.
Oh
different-
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're
But,
getting
like,
a new Wolverine. Oh, it's all coming. They're going to go down to like phase 4, phase 5. They're not stopping anytime soon.
let Deadpool be the link that connects these two worlds.
Now that they own the lot, Deadpool can be in these things. That's the thing I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dave, I'm so sorry for shouting into my audio this whole time. My shitty computer audio because I left my
and
microphone.
on that note, we need to.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up.
We need
That's
to wrap this up.
41 minutes of Marvel
Fuck.
combo. I'm very excited about it. That's 10 minutes longer than we've ever talked about any movie ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very
we've
happy.
never talked about 22 movies too.
Sorry
right.
to everybody who wanted our podcast to be shorter. All right. When we come
They're great,
back,
though. We
we are
love 'em.
going to talk about the franchise that has more spinning timelines than any franchise in fucking history.
We're like,
The
what has more
Terminator.
time travel than Endgame?
Yeah, exactly.
We're
Oh my
talking
God.
about Terminators. Can I say it? Can I be the one who says it? I'll be back. Yeah.
And we're back.
We're back. Yeah, that's how it starts again. That's good.
No, I'm not. I'm
Guys,
not
we have an
starting like
update
that.
on John. We have an update on John's audio.
Yeah, sorry.
John was an asshole and decided to record through his
Yeah.
headphones and not his actual
That's
microphone. So we apologize for
my
the
fault.
shitty quality of John's
You
audio.
probably
Also,
felt
no.
like you were on a shitty phone call with somebody who's using a mediocre Bluetooth headphone to talk to you, and you're
I
frustrated.
thought
Yeah,
you were,
and-
I
and
thought
as
you were trying
everybody-
to sell me stock.
And as everybody who's listening to this podcast knows, we're trying to be taken very seriously.
Very seriously. This
Yeah,
is
so
a
we
very-
double check
this is
everything
highbrow.
before we hit record.
All right. All right, we are now moving on to the Terminator franchise.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be nice to Terminator at first, all right?
I can't do it.
Every time he does it, I'm
That's
just
no
buzzing
good,
you.
man. That's no good.
This is not the 90s,
Okay,
John.
wait. We are trying to be. We're gonna try to be nice, right? This is supposed to be a nice podcast, so we're gonna try to be nice. Let's be nice to the Terminator. So the Terminator, let's just
Yeah,
say this:
you
it suffers
fucks, be
from the
nice.
Godfather syndrome. It suffers from the Godfather syndrome. The first two Terminators are films that are iconic to the entire canon of history of film, and I think they're great. We could talk about them a little bit,
think-
but then maybe we should take all the other films off to the side. for a
Like
second.
the last Terminator did.
Yeah, Dark Fate surprised me.
Like last
Dark
Terminator-
Fate
The
did
last
exactly
Terminator
that.
said-
It was like, oh yeah, no, there
Remember
was
all those
there
movies
was-
you saw? They're all
there was
bullshit.
no 3, 4, and 5. No, this is the next film in the
Because
series.
they said because by the way, they said this because they were like, oh well, James Cameron is returning with creative influence, and we said, wait, but in Genesis in 2015, James Cameron was part of the media blitz, saying that they returned to their franchise because he allowed them to use old footage, basically because they sort of tried to redo the first one, but with a slightly altered. Whatever, doesn't matter.
It was a very effective intro.
So James Cameron basically
like that.
his
Respect the
quote
buzzer,
unquote
Jeff.
involvement in 2015
No, it was a very effective intro. I liked that old
was
footage.
just to sell the movie. What a piece of shit. Okay, who wants to start?
Jeez.
Who wants to start?
Dave, you start because I have a feeling you
Okay,
saw
Dave.
these in the theater.
A lot of them I did, yes. I didn't actually see Dark Fate in the theater.
No, I didn't see
And
that. But did you see one? And did you see
one I didn't. One I saw on home video,
Okay,
like on VHS.
T2.
And
Tell me you saw that in the theater.
T2, I
Dave.
saw that in the theater.
Fuck yeah! Was that awesome?
Yeah, I mean that sits up there with The Godfather among best sequels.
That's
like
awesome,
it's
dude.
Godfather, T2, and Aliens.
Yeah,
For me, it's like
How does the
which is another
clothes- are the
franchise we
clothes
left off.
also
What the
made of-
hell?
Two James Camerons
Are
right
the
there.
clothes-
Two
Yeah.
Jimmy Cams.
Yep.
Are the clothes also made of metal when you are made of liquid metal and you can shapeshift into other people? Is the cop uniform then technically also
Jeff, don't
Yes.
go there.
metal?
Yes,
don't,
it
Because
is.
the
don't,
clothes
Yes, it
aren't
is.
going.
Jeff. The whole
It
story
is.
will just unravel if we.
And
Also, is liquid metal attracted to itself? Is that how he's able to splatter and then kind of come
It's
back together? I'm
fucking
just curious
nanites,
about
What did you
liquid
call
metal.
it? Pneumatic alloy.
And then it hardens real quick. It hardens real quick. It just immediately becomes solid. Like, I'm just curious about
someone's
it.
got to stop him. Okay. Yeah, I saw Terminator 1 on home movie. Back when we got a VHS player in our house. Freaked the shit out of me when that thing came out of the fire at the end. And they went like full scale. And
Yeah.
the technique I now really appreciate because I'm pretty sure that was stop frame animation, if I'm not mistaken.
It was, dude. Yeah.
T2, they upped the game and they were using computer generated effects very early in the game.
ILM.
And yeah, and I really, really dug that as a sequel. I watched that so many times.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, Terminator Genesis, I thought was a solid entry to the film. I liked they took it off on a slightly different track. They introduced a Terminator who didn't know he was a Terminator. Great. Then they went to Terminator Salvation. Terminator Genesis, they tried to reboot the series, and I actually had a lot of fun with this. A lot of people bagged it, but I had a lot of fun with it because in Terminator Genesis, they recreate some of the films from the scenes from the Terminator, and they do it perfectly. And sometimes it's not always using visual effects. They found lookalikes, and like sometimes it's a little bit of visual effects, whatever. But they do it perfectly up to a point, and then it diverges because they have fucked with their own timeline so much that different events are now happening. And
exactly.
and then we get to Dark Fate, which I didn't see in, like I said, I didn't see in the movies, and I really regret that now because
Me too, dude. That's all I was
sat
thinking
through
watching
this,
it. I was like,
and it's
damn it.
it's such a solid entry. It is so
Yeah.
good, and it's
I thought so too. I was very
yeah,
impressed.
Hamilton is back.
She's back, but
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, let's. Does Emilia Clarke do it for you as Sarah Connor?
She was
Not my Linda Hamilton. Dude. She's not my Sarah Connor.
She was good, but I mean, that movie is inherently flawed as it is because it grounds to a halt in the middle.
Yeah,
But
I think they could have done a better job with the casting, though. I didn't. That was
I mean,
like 2015,
yeah,
right?
that was
So she
before Game of
coming on
Thrones
hot
started to
with
suck.
Queen
And,
Dragons.
It's like it's between season 4 and 5, somewhere around
really,
season
I
5.
couldn't even say negative stuff about
Jesus.
Game of Thrones.
Um,
No negative stuff about Game of Thrones.
we can say negative things
Should we
about Game
make
of
a link?
Thrones if you guys want to. I saw the last
You
season.
guys want to talk about season
I saw
7 and
the
8 or
last
what?
2 or 3 seasons.
I don't know whether you noticed, but
give
when I was going
7
through
a
the
pass.
Terminator movies, I skipped one because
Mhm.
Terminator 3 was an absolute fucking waste of space for me.
I did watch that one. I watched that one this week. Probably my favorite concept and probably my least favorite movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
But, I mean,
exactly. That's
okay,
exactly right.
here's
It's
the
definitely
question-
a
here's the
different
question
way.
I'll
He was
pose to
talking to me about it. He said that.
This is the question I posed
What's
here. Does Terminator 3 make the other two movies completely fucking useless? Because Terminator 1 was about stopping Judgment Day. Terminator
Dude,
2 was about stopping
all of
Judgment
these
Day.
Terminator movies
Terminator
make
3, they're
movies
like, okay, we need to
fucking
save John
useless.
Connor. No, wait, we're not. We're just going to sit back and let the entire fucking Earth die and the Judgment Day happen. It's like they just erased the entire first two fucking movies.
Right. For me, knowing the other movies also completely erased the first two movies, I give 3 a little bit of a pass. If I had seen 3 in the theater, I would have been like, wait, what happened to the other two movies? But after seeing Genesis and Salvation, I went, you know what? Like, it's par for the course. They try so hard. Why in Terminator Salvation do you make him Reese? Because literally the entire movie of Terminator Salvation, which is the one with Christian Bale, and then Reese, which is Anton Yelchin, R.I.P. He's made multiple appearances in this franchise, Face Off, and he's just, why does it have to be Reese? Because now anytime anything happens, I goes, this doesn't seem like it's gonna work out at all. Like, is that still his father? Like, all I'm doing is basically playing math in my head, and I'm like, I don't think they're doing this to check out.
Yeah, I
So,
should not
as far as
have to
Terminator
master
3 's
physics to watch this franchise.
I mean, why can't they figure out their timelines? And if you want to do a full butterfly effect one, which is what Genesis did, okay, then completely ignore the next two movies. They tried to do a butterfly effect. Honestly, they should have just said when they went back in time, oh, well, it's different now because of the butterfly effect. So therefore, your mom's not actually Linda Hamilton. It's this person because she looks different. Like, they might as well have gone that hokey with it because it was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Jeff, respect the
I mean,
buzzer.
it was cool seeing her in Dark Fate.
Respect. Oh, sorry, damn it.
It was cool. It was cool seeing her in Dark Fate, but I think I agree. So I am the person who has argued a few times with different franchises that the fact that they keep some movies that have failed to keep trying to tell a different version of the same story works or doesn't work. And this is definitely one that doesn't work. Most of these movies are a very similar story, if not the same story, if not literally rebooting the exact same story.
One is Back to the Future 2. Go back in time, make sure the sexy mom stuff still happens. Don't fuck up the original timeline, except they did fuck up the original timeline. So it's basically like, no! Terminator Genesis is what Back to the Futures should have been. When you go back and change one thing, you don't look like yourself. Things change. Everything's a little different. That's basically what it was.
Yeah, I mean,
what's up with timeline travel and incest and all of the? Why is there incest in every timeline movie?
I'm buzzing you for that.
when Jason Clarke, Jason Clarke saw Jai Courtney, who, by the way, Jai Courtney also getting a lot of shout outs in these series. When Jason Clarke sees Jai Courtney get naked to get into the Terminator, does he think that's my dad's young like it's incest, right? It's weird. He's like, there's my dad's cock. Weird. It's interesting.
Yeah. No, you didn't buzz about it.
I kind of wanted us to.
That's what's going on in these movies.
An image. I kind of wanted us to post an image of all three of us in the Terminator naked squat for this week's episode. Why do they exclusively appear in that squat? Why is that the only position they're allowed?
It's basically the thinker. The statue of the thinker. That's basically how they go in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, you guys. I mean, I had fun watching most of the ones I watched. Like number 1 and number 2 were great. I really did enjoy Dark Fate, which they left the door open for some more movies.
I hope they continue that timeline because I would love to see more of that.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go. All right, but thank you for saying that because I think that is ultimately my biggest criticism of these films is that sometimes they established a timeline that I wish they would have just stuck with and face the difficulty of having to write out what actually happens, and then let's see it play out. And I feel like their luxury of being able to change timelines and change circumstances so frivolously actually didn't do them any favors. I didn't feel like, oh, good, I don't know anything, and I get to sit down and watch a whole brand new movie and a brand new story. I kind of felt like they were manipulating.
Exactly. Yeah. And, this is Reese because that way you'll be more hooked to see what John Connor does with him, as opposed to just making him a different guy. If you're going to deviate that much, two is they made some trickeries. Like they didn't make it easy. First of all, the voiceover effects. Like I'm pretty sure 2 ignored that, and then like an hour in, all of a sudden there's a voiceover again. So that didn't really work. But they made it tricky because
and it ends with the voiceover very quickly. They introduced technology
of the future and how maybe they can erase that from ever happening and such. I mean, those are just really big conceptual things with time travel movies. That's like, do you have an alternate time limit now? So when you go into 3, I mean, 3's basic thing was we were the virus the whole time, right? Not too dissimilar from Avengers, right? But like, yes, it's actually Skynet is Genesis, which will come up later, but just the idea that it was the virus was inside us the whole time. Oh my God, a coronavirus theme. The virus was inside us the entire time. And there's a good concept, but they just, I mean, to pull everything off and make it seem like this is all the same continuous journey is just really hard.
The one thing I do love about the 3 iterations, because there are 3 now, where it's like the original one, it was Skynet. They erased Skynet and Genesis happens. They erase Genesis and Legion happens. It's like no matter what people do, we're gonna destroy ourselves. It's like it's like a warning on film. It's like, come on, guys, get it together.
I feel like James Cameron, who I've watched interviews with him and stuff, and he always talks about how like his entire middle school and high school life he was very lonely, and he had a very long bus ride to school, high school, like a 40-minute to an hour bus ride every day. So he claims that he just read sci-fi nonstop.
Yeah.
And I think the Terminator series is a good example, because I would say this about all of his movies. He has really good, big, worthy ideas and is not great at executing. I think he has...
I mean, that's harsh, but it's not untrue, but it's a little harsh.
You're right. Avatar is a genius piece of work. You're right.
The story sucks, but honestly, the visual storytelling is really good.
It was an awesome thing to see once in the theaters.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that movie and I was like, that was great. I hope I never fucking see this movie.
I can't wait for the 4 sequels nobody wanted.
Exactly.
There's four.
Yeah, and
Who
I'm not
is he with
blaming-
ego on
I'm
this
not
guy?
blaming. I know.
You watch.
And I'm not
Having
blaming
said
James
that,
Cameron for
those
the
sequels are going
entire-
to come out.
obviously
I'm
he
probably going to
didn't-
fucking love them.
He's gonna figure it out.
Really?
He's gonna figure it out. But then it's gonna be like Titanic, where you see it
We're
10
all
years
gonna
later,
see
and you go,
them.
you know what? She probably shouldn't have dated him.
Yeah, no. We'll all see them in the theater. We'll have a good time. It'll blow our minds visually. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel that way about the Terminator series in general, which is that he had a really cool idea. And I do want to credit him because there wasn't a tons of really successful sci-fi when the first one came out. There were a few alien sci-fi
Right.
movies like Alien and Aliens that he directed. This was one of the first times we saw the machines take over the world story. And this was after Logan's Run.
Yeah.
This was there were some other movies that popped in there that did pretty well, but nothing dominated a blockbuster status the way this did.
Damn straight.
So I do want to make sure that, like, in terms of just story, he did introduce one of the most told stories of our generation. We all grew up just understanding that, of course, this is part of the canon of sci-fi. Of course, this is something that we're dealing with every day with advances in the internet and social media and with fucking Apple listening to everything we're fucking saying right now. Like, we are definitely living this right now. So I don't want to, we're harping on these, we're being critical. These movies, most of them suck, but the story is pretty damn intriguing.
Godfather
and I
syndrome.
do
The
think it
first two
deserves a place in the movie
The first two are
canon
so
of
good.
America.
There was only
and,
one I didn't like, and that was the third one.
I didn't love Salvation, man. I'm glad you liked it
I
because I
did
don't want
like
to
it.
bag on movies,
Salvation
but
is really
the
Salvation
idea
is-
of Sam
think
Worthington
it's good.
being the machine who has human qualities is really interesting, and not knowing who he is.
See,
The
thank you.
machine with the
See?
existentialism issues are really, really cool. They touched on that. The plot, I don't know. It's like they had to start changing timelines in that one and Genesis, which are both after
Shout
3.
out to Matt
It seems
Smith
like they
in
had to
Genesis,
basically start
too. That
playing
was-
timelines just to make the plots work.
Matt Smith in
You know,
Genesis.
it just got a
You know
little
what
strange.
Salvation should have done? Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Smith and everything. He's fucking
Right.
great. Salvation could have been a good movie if the entire thing would have been from Sam Worthington's point of
Exactly.
view.
Yes, we don't need this John Connor, John Reese shit. I mean, not John Reese. We don't need this John Connor and Reese. I know, but that's my point. Because all I'm doing is sitting there going, "This doesn't make sense with the 3 movies I've seen. It doesn't add
Yep.
up."
Because it's such an obvious problem because we didn't get to discover anything
know,
with
and they
Sam
did it on
Worthington. We were
purpose.
watching him the whole time.
They tried to emotionally hook me, and in doing so, they killed the storyline. So my brain and my heart weren't in line. Also, I think the best part about this series is imagining if they had just cast O.J. Simpson instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger like they wanted. I think that would have made this
I'm
series
buzzing you
so
for that.
much more interesting to watch in
Holy
hindsight.
fucking shit.
They said he was
dude. Holy
too
shit.
likable. They said he was too likable.
That was him back then. You saw the Naked Guns.
But maybe he wouldn't have shown his cock.
I want to
like
ask you guys this.
Arnold did.
I want to ask you guys. Jesus Christ Almighty! I want to ask you guys this. I could not help every time I watch any of the great. I love Predator so much. Sadly, those
If it bleeds,
franchises
we
did
can
not
kill
make it
it.
onto our list. But I love the Predator franchise.
Buzz on myself.
God damn it, it's so good. So I was watching these and having a really good time and just enjoying old school Arnold pre-governor,
it's cool.
Governator Arnold. I could not stop thinking about Dwayne Johnson and how they have the exact same career. Which one do you guys like more?
Really? This is the note you took?
1.0
You took this
or
one
Dwayne
note?
The Rock Johnson. I want to hear you say it. Would you have been satisfied watching Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Well, you voted for Fast and the Furious to advance, so I think you might should
I don't
prove
know.
The Rock.
I mean, I would like to
wanna
see
hear what you
those
have to
guys in the
say.
same
I'm
movie, to be
posing the
honest.
question first. What do you think?
I
What do you
have
think?
different opinions of both. Like, I love Arnie. I've respected Arnie for a long time. I love his work.
Arnie, right.
And I am also a huge fan of The Rock. Like, they're both awesome in their own way. I don't think we need to compete with those two guys. Let's put them in the same damn action film.
I can't, but we got to give it up to Arnie. I mean, there are quotes. He's turning into Shakespeare, where there's lines that you've heard a million times in your life, and you almost forgot that he actually wrote them, or not wrote them. He was the originator of all of these. Obviously, I'll be back, and Hasta la Vista, baby. We
I
know.
mean, what I want to
But
hear
there's
is
so
The
many-
Rock walk up and go, "No, bitch, I'll be back."
That's right. Honestly, there was a small part
Aw.
of me that when they said for the first time in rewatching these series, "Come with me if you want to live,"
Yes.
my initial reaction was, "Oh my God, that's what the pelican says in Finding Nemo. That's what Jeffrey Rush says when they see the they see the mine, and he goes, "Come with me if you want to live." And they jump in his mouth, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with you, Jeff? This thing came from the Terminator."
That's
But
what
anyway,
that's
so
from,
like
dude.
Arnold, I mean, just and how willing we were to accept the fact that he was the good Terminator now. Like James Cameron, like that's like your wait, I got this in my back pocket that nobody's gonna guess. Nobody's gonna guess
that
this.
ever
Arnold's
happened
back. They
before?
immediately, not a single person thought he wasn't gonna be the villain of the second movie.
I was trying to like look that up. Has that ever happened before? Has there ever been such a good turn of the villain into hero?
I mean, the other thing I loved was in like Dark Fate, where they turned it around again, and it was like there were so many good narrative twists in that as well. Like where you get to the point, like and
for John, dude.
Yeah,
for John.
That whole thing, and the fact that it's the like one of the first films that Arnie doesn't use "I'll be back."
Yeah,
because it's Linda Hamilton's first fucking line. Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
I think he says
that's what she does.
She'll
that's
be
cool.
back in this one. Yeah, I mean, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger in these movies. I remember people gave him some shit when we were growing up, but I've always liked Arnold. I love Conan.
I think they give him some shit with respect. Like, I mean, no one's going to give Arnie shit.
And he asked for so much for that third movie, and God knows what he asked for after that. He asked for $29.5 million up front, plus 20% of the box office.
Probably because he read the script.
20% of the box office. He also got a private, not driver, limo driver. So he had a 24-hour limo service. He had a 3-story trailer that had a gym. Like, how did we not see this guy and go, you know, maybe he's a dick? And instead, we're like, you know what, Arnie, do what?
No, I can understand the gym. I mean,
go for it.
I mean,
it's
you guys.
Arnie.
I bought the. I don't for all you listeners out there. T2 is available for $7.99 on iTunes right now, so I bought it. I was like, fuck it, I'll spend $3 more and buy it. Yeah, I went for it. Fuck it. And there's good special features on there. One is the making of, and there's 2 different documentaries, and Arnold's in a lot of it, and sounded like he was one of the reasons it got made.
Did you watch the alternate ending as well?
Has the alternate ending, has some good deleted scenes. It has just a special effects documentary, and it has the making of documentary.
The alternate ending is more of the voiceover that Jeff really appreciated.
I love the voiceover.
I think they should have extended it too. I think they should have kept it. It's a little too quick for me, if I'm being totally honest with you. That movie is over like that. I think they should have lengthened it just a little bit.
I was okay with that.
Were you okay with it?
Yeah, it's over. We get it. We know it's gonna happen.
Thumbs up.
I mean, it's the battle. It starts to have too much similarity to the one before, where they're like, oh, they're gonna learn their lesson this time. Also, by the way, shout out to that actor who was in our previous franchise, which was Die Hard.
Buzz him for parting on our podcast. Buzz him.
I'm not cutting it out.
It was because of Die Hard.
Yeah, that was Jeff Farner.
Robert Patrick. He was cast as the villain of Terminator 2 after being the villain of Die Hard. Not the villain, but let's say an anti-hero of Die Hard 2. No, he was the villain in Die Hard 2, yeah.
Yeah, he was the villain, right?
Which did not advance in our series. What's something else I was going to ask you guys?
And reprised that role for Wayne's World, too.
Yeah. I know. The whole time I was watching T2, I was like, where is this guy, dude? That guy's so good. Why?
Wait.
Yeah, he was great. And that's the other thing I liked about
he was a terrifying character with the sword hands. Edward
Diego
Sword
Luna.
Hands. Come on. Diego Luna, yeah.
Yeah, in Dark Fate. Like, he mimicked what Robert Patrick set up.
Wow. He did a great job. So many good accents. Yeah. He did so many good dialects in that movie. I was like,
he did.
Wow,
yeah.
I kind of want to watch this guy do another scene. Like, he was kicking ass, and it was cool. The special effects were
where's
amazing.
the spin-off?
Very good. He was a highlight for me.
Me
as well.
too, dude.
Like,
I want his model to come back. I want that guy to definitely come back again.
I mean, if they do a sequel, I'm sure that model's coming back.
It was touching, dude. Jeff, you got to watch it. I was very, very happy with Dark Fate.
I was pretending like I had seen it. Nothing has come up in this podcast that would have hinted that I hadn't seen it until you said that.
Well, I'm going to call you out. I was
out.
shocked though. I feel you. I chose consciously several times. I'm on AMC A-list. I could have easily have gone seen that in IMAX, and I just chose not to because I heard
Corona.
Not great things. This is before Corona. And now I'm just kicking myself in the ass. I was like, dude, I could have seen this in IMAX. This would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So go watch it. If anyone, it's available to rent, $5.99. Check out Dark Fate, dude. It's the best of the latter half of the franchise. It's definitely the best.
Yeah, watch T1, T2, and Dark Fate.
Yeah, I completely agree.
That is the Terminator franchise.
Yeah, there should just
and
be
then for fun, go Salvation and Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Yeah.
not watch Terminator 3.
There's some good scenes in that too. Too bad. Wait, Terminator 3. You know what it does? I swear on my life. I swear with all of my mind.
Uh-huh.
When the alarm goes off because it's about to be a nuclear war or whatever, it's the exact same alarm as GoldenEye. I promise you with all of my heart and soul. Like the GoldenEye video game I played every single day of my
Holy
life.
shit, dude! I think you might be right. Yeah.
That
Man.
alarm is exactly what happens when you fucked up a level in GoldenEye for sure.
Did you play as Oddjob?
Of course
No,
he
I'm not
played
an
his
asshole.
bullshit. Yeah, of course
I'm
you
not a
played his
dick.
odd job.
No,
You short motherfucker.
no odd job was my rule. And then if somebody wanted to be, if they're like, no, I insist on being odd job, and it was my only job to make sure that person had a terrible, terrible 5 minutes of their life. That was my only job. Somebody's gonna be fucking odd job. They're so
All right,
short,
we
and
have
the
gone-
game shoots over them. Guys,
We
Sam
have
Worthington has
gone-
a Shawshank moment
we
in,
have
in,
gone-
Genesis in Salvation. He's in the rain, and he literally does a full Shawshank. It's awesome. Go see the
It
Terminator
hasn't
1
gone
and
through
2.
a tunnel of shit, though, really.
Guys, Terminator 1, I wish they didn't show me the future in early. Also, when you guys make your sci-fi movies, because everybody is going to write a screenplay immediately after hearing this, set your movies farther in the future. It's really shitty watching these after it's passed, and I'd be like, man, you guys were way off. Set it farther in the future.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah,
on, I
guys,
promise you,
guys,
I promise you in 10 years, we're not going to have killed 6 billion people, and we are not going to be owned by machines. Set it 50 years in the future.
Starting 26. 26 something that from now on. On that note, we need to wrap this up. We need to argue about what's moving forward. And let's.
And Dave, you can't wait. Don't sound like the voice of reason. You're the one who passed on 2 movies 1 week.
Somebody else do
All right.
the. We'll be back. Somebody else hit it.
No. We'll. You know what? We'll all be back.
God, that was awful. All right, you guys, can I do it?
No,
Can
fine.
I? And we're back.
Yeah.
And we're
We're back.
damn it. God damn it.
Buzz.
Drink,
I
John.
can't do it. Ow. I can't do an Arnold. I can't do an walking either. Buzz me again.
Yeah, no.
John, we gotta start. We gotta do this
Yeah,
all
yeah.
over again. Okay, so this is big. Actually, this is a big vote because I'm gonna tell you why this is a big vote coming up. Because the winner of this, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Avengers series, or the Terminator series, whatever the fuck that means, any movie with Terminator in.
Use the word franchise, Jeff.
Terminator. Which timeline is this? It doesn't matter. Goes up against The Godfather, which we have exposed some weaknesses in The
Holy
Godfather,
shit,
and they're
dude.
all in the 3rd movie. But this is a franchise face-off, so we are voting on the entire
Ooh.
franchise. So, who would like
Ooh.
to start? And before we start, I'm going to apologize to the seating. Why did we seed the Terminator as 10 when the Dark Knight series is not on the board?
It will be on the
How did
board.
this
Dark
happen?
Knight is definitely going to be a wild card.
Drink, Jeff.
Also, Bond
Everybody
is not
drink.
in here, and here's
Everybody
the
drink.
Terminator is on the board. Okay, who wants to go first?
Oh boy, I'll go first.
John, go first because Dave's drinking. I think that's Dave's way of saying he needs to finish his beer before he thinks about how to vote here.
All right, this one is not super complicated. I don't think anyone alive could sit down and watch these 27 movies. How many Terminators are there? 6? 7?
20, I don't know, man.
6. I don't
So
know.
I don't think anyone could watch
A lot.
these and not admit that the ultimate achievement of the franchise is not comparable. Marvel has.
I don't
has
know,
moved
man.
forward.
60 million people voted for Trump.
I know you're right.
I don't know.
But
Somebody
hey,
out
we
there.
were talking about this before we started recording. Why don't we just take a little note from
That's right. The buzzer is for negativity.
Jeff? How much money did the Terminators make? Net gross? You said you saw that before we started.
No, Dave saw it, and it's like 800 million. No,
It was something like
'cause-
800
no, it's
million,
more
yeah.
than that. It's more than that. It's probably a couple billion.
I think that was domestic.
Okay. Versus
Yeah.
the $22.55
2 made 500 million.
billion
22,
dollars
yeah.
that the Marvels
It
make.
is the MCU franchise more than doubled Star Wars and
Yeah.
Harry Potter, which
Yeah.
means that Star Wars and Harry Potter
And I know
combined.
that's triple. That's basically like
out
triple
earned
the
that.
movies. It's triple the Terminator movies for sure, at least.
No. But if you combine Harry Potter and Star Wars, that's 17 movies versus 22. and MCU is still out on its
Wizards
own.
and Jedis. I want to see that movie.
Well, that's why we're doing the franchise, because they may face off in our franchise.
As long as it's not Star Wars versus Star Trek. Jesus,
At one
no.
point, we're going to play
I
a
can't
game.
take.
my
I cannot
God.
take that from the internet. No, please don't do that.
Which universe would you rather live in? We're
Right,
going to
John,
talk
can
about
you just
that.
give us
My
a
vote is
vote?
definitely the Marvel movies. I'm sorry, Arnold. I'm sorry. My bad impression is only going to get worse because I'm not going
No,
to
he's
keep
not
doing
sorry.
it.
He's not sorry. He made $100 million off these movies. He knows
Arnie
exactly
doesn't
what they
care.
are.
I'm happy it exists.
He got a plane. He got a plane as a gift for one of them.
Yeah.
They did a movie and they're like, "Thanks so much. Here's a plane." Like that's how much money they
Yeah,
made. He doesn't
Arnie's
he knows they're
fine.
not good.
He's not going to be like. He's
I
not going to be
know,
worried
I
about
know
your
A
he's
vote.
plane
fine.
as a gift.
I'm glad these movies exist.
gift
I'm glad
card.
I watched several of them. I had a good time as usual, but like since like I said, since we're living in that age of the series and these franchises are just taking over, it kind of feels like you're watching the invention of the wheel with the Terminator franchise and you're watching a fucking Lexus LT with the Marvel movies. It's just they've figured out how to do the franchise thing better. So for me, there's just no argument. It's more cohesive. There's a better through line. I feel
so
more
brave of you.
attached to everyone in the Marvel movies. I think the stories are more interesting while also still feeling like they remain within the arc. So no comparison. Marvel movies. What do you guys think?
Dave, you want me to go?
You go. I haven't gone last in a while.
Yeah.
All
Not since that
Oh,
incident.
No. Not since the incident. I do like the line in T3 where they say, this is the government fighting against the computer hacker who could just be a guy sitting alone in a garage, which leads me to believe that our current president, who used that line in the past, has seen Terminator 3. So I think that goes to say something. But let's see, what else? Did I miss anything? For the first two movies, even though the liquid metal thing's a little weird in hindsight, also set your movies farther in the future. Besides that, are the soles of the boots still rubber, or are they also liquid metal? I don't know how they made it through the bars of the.
They are liquid.
jail.
They
Anyway,
are liquid metal.
Don't question
Everything is liquid metal.
James
Jeff.
Cameron's imagination. It is.
no, he's cool. He's cool. I like James Cameron. The only thing I would say about the first one in hindsight is I wish they didn't show me the future at the beginning. I think it would have been really cool if Reese was a little bit more like a crazy, untrustworthy person, and then halfway through the movie, which is basically what happens, Sarah Connor goes, "What happens?" And he goes, "Oh, right, she missed the intro to the movie. Audience, let's catch her up." Besides that, it's basically perfect. No, but think about this. This movie has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
T1 has 100%.
T1 is 100% on for the critic score, and then the audience score it's like
Wow.
93, and then T2 it's like 93 to 90 whatever. But it's like for some reason the critical score is 100%, and it changed everything. Apparently he thought Mad Max 2 mixed with this sci-fi writer. Star Wars was out, some Trek movies were out, Blade Runner was out, but more or less it's a really
it did
cool
take
idea.
something and make it its own.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
it was unique.
It is
in
so
its
cool.
time.
Again, I wish they didn't show us the beginning too soon, but if I'm him, I understand, because at the time it was probably important to get that hook in early. It was really probably out there. People probably hadn't seen something like that. I would say let's make the stealth fighters a little quieter. All the resistance fighters are like, "Gee, do you hear that really fucking loud spacecraft in the view?" You know what I mean? I kind of wish they were a little quieter. But besides that, moral of the story is the first two Terminators are really
I'm sorry,
good.
listeners.
The next three, I don't know exactly what happened, but there was some fun in there. But I do really like the MCU, even though I shout on Endgame and I shout on some other little tiny elements in it. I really would enjoy spending even more time with the characters themselves.
How many times have you seen?
Especially the supporting characters. By the way, we didn't mention any of the supporting characters. So shout out to Hawkeye and Hulk.
Hawkeye's
and
the main
Ant-Man.
character, you
Who?
fuckwits.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah, but we never talk about whatever.
How
get
many
it.
times have you seen?
We never talk about how Nick Fury works for S.H.I.E.L.D. And then they're like, "Hey, everybody, Hydra's in S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra's going to take everything out." And it's like, but when Nick Fury said, "Let's start the Avengers," it's really
don't
fucking
pull
big
us
on
the
the
one-
Hydra.
There's,
Take
okay,
out
there's
the
the
thread.
one. Yeah, there's the one flaw that the MCU came across is that they did tie in a little bit. Like they didn't cross over too many characters, but they tied in a little bit with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you see a lot of the
Oh, yeah.
repercussions of Hydra infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
You don't see so much in the movies, but they cover that in the TV shows.
Right.
Jeff, how many times have you
forgot you
seen
were
the
standing this.
MCU
Well, anyway.
movies?
The only ones I've seen multiple times are Iron Man 1, Civil War, Avengers 1, and Ragnarok. I've seen Ragnarok multiple times, and Guardians 1 I've seen multiple times. But other than that, I've seen every movie once.
Interesting.
MCU, John, Dave.
Okay, MCU, I've seen every movie at least 5 times.
Oh, I was giving you 3.
Yeah,
You've
no,
watched them more than I
at
had thought
least.
you have.
What's it like to sit there and say, you know what? I think Iron Man 2 needs a 4th go.
No, it doesn't.
what was going on that day?
Oh, shit.
You know, there's a lot of stuff on TV right now. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Afterlife season
Also,
2
Disney
just dropped.
Plus, I have most of the
Unorthodox
Marvel
is great.
collection because they don't have them all yet. Oh, I don't know. That's for bagging out Disney. Frankly, I'm surprised my phone isn't ringing.
You shot on Iron Man 2. Why did you see it 5 times? This is more about you than it. That's what I'm saying.
I saw it 5 times
so
because
hard.
I saw it 5 times because
I just dropped my
everything in the
backup
series
audios.
has at least some redeemable faction in it. Like there's a character that's introduced in Iron Man 2 that comes back in Avengers Endgame and makes an appearance in the funeral sequence.
Did you need 4 goes at that? What about Thor 2? What about
Dark
Dark
World
World?
I've watched 3 times. Actually, that's the one that is the short one. I've seen that 3 times. It is better on a 3rd watch.
All right.
I will give it that.
Mm-hmm. Within the context,
Who's your favorite MCU character? Sorry,
John, go.
No, I was just gonna say within the
I
all
answered
these
who my
movies are
favorites
more
were,
fun
but
when you
yeah.
rewatch them because within the context of the entire 22, they're all
they?
much more enjoyable in context. I think.
Mm.
I always have more fun. I've
Yes.
rewatched. I saw them all in the theaters, and I have rewatched them twice since then. One in sequential order and one in release date.
Yeah, we need to get you a hobby. We need to get you a...
John, fuck.
Jeff, how many episodes of Outlander have you watched? Let's see if we're gonna play this game.
Good question. No, I did
Hold
not
on,
make it all the way through
get
Outlander.
back. Dave, who's your favorite MCU character?
I've seen the
What's
first season
Outlander?
multiple
What?
times. Dave, who's your favorite Outlander character?
Bill.
Is it Jamie Fraser? Okay. Dave, who's MCU?
My favorite MCU character is Black Widow.
Oh shit! So progressive. Get in there. Tell me why. Why do you love her so much?
I mean, when she's first introduced in the Avengers, like
Super cool.
yeah. she's
That opening scene is
she's conducting
awesome.
and
Yeah.
I'm using air quotes
Yeah.
here, an interrogation.
Yeah, she's like, I've almost got this guy.
Did her movie
He's
ever
about to
come
give
out?
me
No, it's-
everything I need.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
coming
the
out
interrogation was
after COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we can all go
After COVID.
outside again.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a make or break for her. I feel like if that movie's a Captain Marvel, that's it. Nobody's gonna ever
that
answer the
might.
way
That's a
you
good one.
answered.
Sorry, it might be
That's a good
David.
one.
No, this movie might be David Harbour's chance to redeem himself for Hellboy.
Hellboy, our
And season
favorite.
two- and
It's still our highest
season
rated episode
3
of this
Stranger
podcast. Is
Things
the Hellboy
as
episode?
well as that.
Yeah.
I also really love the sequence.
Not as
I
far,
also
yeah.
really love her sequence when her and Jon Favreau go and
Yes.
break into this place.
That
and
is
he,
like
you know,
I said. That,
boxes
that
one guy and
is-
she kills everybody.
that is like Iron Man 2's thing. It's the introduction of Black Widow as Black Widow.
She is fucking perfect
Yeah.
in that role. I like Scarlett in general. I don't love her in a lot of her sincere, like, regular life, not superhero dramas, but I really like her as Black Widow. She has a really good comedic timing with all the guys.
Yep.
She just fucking handles, like, I don't think of her as anything other than one of the Avengers,
I mean,
even though
yeah.
she doesn't have superpowers.
She doesn't have
She has no
superpowers,
superpowers.
but
It's crazy.
she kicks everyone's fucking ass.
We talked a whole bunch of shit
Yes.
about Endgame, but I was moved by her and Hawkeye's final
Yeah.
sequence where they fight
Yeah.
to the death. I mean, that was touching. I don't want to give away anything for anybody who hasn't seen it, but that was
Yeah,
touching.
that was
dude.
that was really cool.
good.
That was really cool. My problem was how come everybody didn't have that? It was a convenience thing. It wasn't like these
Yeah.
two characters need to
And
be tied up. It was
why
like,
did
shit,
you
who do we
send?
have?
It was a little contrived. Why did you send the two non-superheroes together to find a stone? But it was a good
No,
payoff.
I think that's another thing. People love that movie because it was like, hey, you got through every single person's storyline, and that was a cool little twist, and you pulled it off. Check.
I
plus
did love
for
the
you.
memes that were going around
feel like that's what
this week
Endgame was.
actually about how like Hawkeye is basically a serial killer because you took out his family and he just started killing a whole heap of Asian people.
A lot of serial killers
Like,
do retire to the country, I believe. I think that's in Breaking Bad
Yeah.
and Better Call Saul. I think
Like,
it's
he just
Yeah,
stuck-
no, that's good.
Like seriously, like
He's like,
his
"No, I wanna
family
live in the
dissolved.
woods. Oh,
His
the
family
game always
dissolved to
brings you
nothing,
back."
and it's like I'm gonna wipe out every Asian gang ever.
yeah,
they
that was pretty
kinda
crazy.
skipped
That
that.
was pretty
Huh.
ballsy.
Like it came across a little racist because they skipped the lead in.
He did get
Yeah,
really
they
mad and he
skipped
took it
the
out of
lead
the
into that.
Asians.
And it was
I
like,
like her.
Yeah.
I really like her relationship with Banner.
yes.
Sun's getting real low, big guy. Like
Yeah,
I really
that
like
whole
when they started.
that whole setup.
That's probably
Is it
the
cheap
best
that he
part
can all of a
of
sudden
Ultron.
control his anger?
What?
Like,
What'd you say, Jeff?
is it cheap that they like pulled it off that he controls his anger that one time, and then from then on he can just control it all the time until they get to Ragnarok where it's inconvenient? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. You go back to what you were talking
Jeff
about.
hates MCU.
Jeff, my.
I'm just curious. I want to know.
Jeff, I'm the one.
I hate season 7 of Game of Thrones because I love the first 6.
I'm the one that likes DC Universe, not you.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
No, let's get on it.
Get out of here.
We can shit on it a little bit more if we want. They never
we don't
knew
need
what
to
to do with the Hulk. They never knew what
They
to do
never
with
knew
the
what
Hulk.
to do with the
Which
Hulk
one?
until
Wait, which
he was
Hulk?
the comic relief in the first
Yes.
first Avengers, and then they kind of found a
Yes.
footing for the Hulk, and then they developed this wonderful storyline between him and Black
Do you
Widow.
guys like Smart Hulk?
No,
Do you like Smart
No.
Hulk in Endgame? I did not like that at all.
No.
That didn't work for me.
They also
at
sat there
all.
and they're like, wait, goal for us is how do we get the Beast to say something funny? How do we get the monster to say something funny? And they're like, I don't know, just write it into the next scene and we'll just print it. I feel like that's what happened.
Okay,
And all of a sudden,
okay, I'm sorry.
even when he became a celebrity,
Okay.
it was like, oh
To
my
go
God.
slightly off topic, what they did was they made the Hulk She-Hulk.
Why is that? Wait,
Is that a character in the MCU universe or something?
She-Hulk is a character in the MCU, and she strikes a balance between Hulk and humanity, and she's able to retain her intelligence while she's the Hulk.
All right.
They turned the Hulk
So they
into
definitely,
She-Hulk.
yeah, it sounds like they literally
So
did
this
that. Because that came out of fucking nowhere, dude. Smart Hulk. I was like,
Which is really amazing because the Disney Plus is making a She-Hulk series.
yeah, let her stand alone. Why did you
So
do that
I'm
with
like,
him?
well,
That was-
yeah.
It's
that
like the
was
Lady
stupid.
Stoneheart
Also because-
standalone for Game of
It's
Thrones.
So okay, we've got a little off topic here.
Who cares?
No, it's
I've-
good.
we've
We're
got
still
through the
rolling.
MCU stuff and Terminator.
Uh-huh.
I like I said, first one scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Stop motion is
It was
scary.
a great movie. I watched.
Also,
I've
terrorist
rewatched it
attacks
so many
in
times.
clubs.
I
Very
watched-
scary.
I watched T2 so
Yeah.
many more times because it is an amazing sequel. It is a
It's
fantastic
good.
movie.
It's very good.
I've watched Terminator 3 about 5 times because I like to punish myself.
Masochist, you bastard. What's wrong with you?
I've seen Genesis twice. I've seen Salvation at least 4 or 5 times. I really enjoyed that, and I feel like I'm gonna buy
It was
Dark
good.
Fate because I enjoyed
Yeah,
that
you're going to
film
see
so
it 4
much
more
more.
times.
And given the fact that I'm gonna watch
Okay.
them a lot. I'm gonna watch like T1,
So you've
T2,
seen-
and Dark Fate a
So
lot.
you've seen these movies,
But in saying that, like Terminator lost its way and went
Pretty early
off the
on, yeah.
rails for so many years, and they've come back now, and I'd love to see what they make of it.
Me too.
But Marvel has had it nailed for a good 10 years.
The through line is
Like they settled in, and they really they have done some damage to how to make a long running series.
think
of
they
films. So,
changed
yeah,
it.
I'm sorry. I'm going MCU all the way.
I think they
MCU for me.
changed it. I think they've introduced something that people are going to try to copy.
Yeah, I mean DC
They
did.
tried.
DC is still
They
trying.
tried to
They'll,
they will
never get back to the glory of the Dark Knight trilogy.
But throw back to my earlier comment about I don't know why the animosity with DC, and I think I do know now because they tried to quickly develop a universe. They tried to do what Marvel was doing, but they tried to do it
Which
straight
they
up.
should not have done.
And Marvel took the time to build, and they took what? How many years was this? 10 years? 12 years?
12. Yeah.
Yeah, 12 years to build this universe, and DC tried to do it in 3 movies, and it's like, yeah, no, you're not going to do it.
And
in
I
3
think that
movies. You got to put in the legwork.
I think it's so disappointing because I think they accidentally stumbled onto what would have been their best foot forward, which is that you hire someone like Christopher Nolan to do their own trilogy. You don't try to connect the universe. You just let really genius people take one
they
character
did learn
and
that,
run to
and
town.
they learned that when Wonder Woman made $1 billion.
Is Patty Jenkins doing the second one?
Yeah. Everybody's
Yeah.
back.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
and
so
possibly
pumped to
the
see
third.
1984, dude. I can't wait to see that movie.
Yeah, it's been pushed back a year, but
They're not going to release
we'll
it
get
on
it next year.
demand. Come on.
Wait,
they're not
are they
going to do
going to
that.
bump into
No,
Sarah
they're not.
Connor in
They're not.
1984? It's the
They're
same
not.
year. It's the year they go back to the Terminator.
That's for you, Jeff. And but
We're connecting these two
I feel like
franchises.
okay. So Marvel for me, Jeff.
Marvel, definitely, right?
I already
Yeah.
voted. So Marvel's moving on. Marvel's going to see The Godfather in the semifinals. Next week is the end of our initial round before we have our bonus round where we accidentally admit that we forgot Dark Knight. But we're going to add 2 movies in. So Dark Knight and something else.
Are we taking? We're taking suggestions.
We are taking
right,
suggestions. Some
from
other
Yeah, but
suggestions
seriously,
would
Dark
be
Knight.
The
Indiana
World?
Jones, which I highly suggest you don't suggest because I'm going to shit all over that. The Dollars trilogy, Rocky. Here's the big ones: Rocky and Bond. Do you want Rocky and Bond in there?
Okay, no. Let's like. Are we not leaving up the public? We're just going off the list.
No,
we're going
I'm
to, but if
suggesting
we
to the
don't-
public the Dark Knight trilogy, Rocky, Indiana Jones, James Bond, Alien, The Mummy has made it onto our short list.
The Mummy, dude.
Just don't say
yeah.
Land Before Time. You fuckers, don't say Land Before Time, and don't say
mean,
RoboCop. It's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
all
Do
those. Yeah,
not.
all the animated trilogies can maybe.
And the
we
horror
did Toy
trilogies
Story,
are
we did
great.
it.
Not gonna
Fuck off.
happen. So
Oh, so
if anybody, Dark
Maybe
Knight,
not the Beethovens either. No Beethovens.
no Beethovens. The Dark Knight, and no Airbuds.
beer just went in my
Airbud
laptop.
Golden Receiver. Huh. Okay.
Airbud. Oh my
Okay,
God,
next week
dude.
on the podcast, if you made it this far, you're definitely going to tune in next week for sure. Because
it's gonna
you're
be
our
a fun
family.
week.
Thank
Tell
you so
'em, tell
much,
'em,
family.
tell 'em.
Okay, next week is actually going to be really, really fun, which is Jurassic Park and Mission Impossible. And for anybody out there who forgot,
Yes.
the Mission Impossible movies are fucking awesome. If anybody forgot about that along the way. Also, the book's great. Go ahead and read the book.
That's Jeff's just for Jeff
I don't
trying
have
to
any more
influence the
beer.
vote. What?
Jurassic
God, you
Park, Mission
loser.
Impossible next week. Thanks so much for tuning in.
You have to drink twice
Guys,
next week.
Harry Potter and Die Hard was really fun last week for anybody who missed it. I don't know what else to say. You guys want to say anything else?
Can I do one last to say goodbye?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I do one last? I
You
won't
can do
be
whatever you want.
back. I won't be.
We're gonna cue the music early this week.
I just keep buzzing you.
Das Ein, we need you. All right, tune in out. See you next week.
Enjoy.